So, yesterday I completed 2 days of production for YouTube, which I haven't done in a long time. And since all the gear is still set up, I thought I'd use the opportunity to do a good old one-take behind the scenes video, one of which I haven't done in a long time. So, let's check out the setup. Pretty straightforward, actually. This is a little table that I used. Currently I have problems with my back, so sitting isn't optimal, standing or kneeling is way better. Pretty simple setup, top-down light. This is a light dome from Aputure, light dome 2 I believe. And up here, that is an Aputure 300X, a Lightstorm bicolor variant. Down here, one layer of diffusion and a grid to make sure the light hits predominantly this table and not too much more. Now this is the setup I was talking about, a rather large one. I don't know whether the video on that setup is out before this one or not. Well, you'll have to check on the channel. So, main light for the table. Then over here, a lantern. That is, by the way, a rather cheap light, the Corbusier 100. It is a very good quality light as far as the light quality is concerned, but the yoke right here is total shit. So this is what it looks like. That's gaffer's tape if the yoke gives out on you. So that's not optimal, and I would not recommend showing up to a set with this kind of construction. Anyway, the lantern here just served to illuminate me sitting behind the table there a little bit more, because I didn't get too much light from the top construction here. Then of course the 300X sits on a mini boom, the D600 from Avenger, and on a C-stand again from Avenger. Down here, that's the ballast. This is one of the two C-stands. So right here, I can set up my color temperature and my intensity. Currently, I've set it to 3200 because 32 and 56 do not have any kind of green or magenta cast. And I basically took care of the color temperature in camera. I made it a little cooler in camera. I think I set it to 4000 or something. But 3200 on the lights, because then the bicolor lights don't have a green or magenta cast. Now, this is a do-it-yourself solution because my sandbags haven't arrived yet, but it serves the purpose, and so does this one. This is the case for another light that I own as the ballast for the second mini boom, which is this one, and has my top-down camera. This is a Sony a7 III, a 24-70 f4 Zeiss full-frame lens, of course, and this gives me the top-down shot for, well, the table and all the things I do on that table. Now, I ran the signal out of the camera into this little monitor that gives me, let me check this out, that gives me exactly the top-down shot of this camera. So whatever I do under here shows up on screen. So it's a convenient way to monitor what you're doing if you're not looking into the A camera, which is an A1 with a 24-70 f2.8 from Samyang, actually. Unfortunately, I don't own any of that equipment except the Rode Link Filmmaker kit, and of course my trusted Manfrotto 502 and the awesome iFootage Gazelle TA6, which is a hybrid of a video and photo tripod. It has a removable center column, so you can get really low, but it also features a leveling head, so I can level the 502 from Manfrotto, for example, that doesn't have a 75 or 100 millimeter bowl. So that's super convenient, it's lightweight, it's compact. It's a great hybrid for small to medium setups. Now, this A1, the ACam signal, I ran out into this simple PC monitor. So there's really nothing you can do with this monitor except have it take a signal. So I'm recording in log using the A1, but I can't output a log signal to the monitor, so all I'm seeing here is the ungraded log signal. But it still serves the purpose of checking framing and focus, which is awesome. Now, let's get into this real quick. This is a super clamp, a spigot, a Joby Ballhead X. Wait, let me redo the focusing. So this is a super clamp, standard spigot, Joby Ballhead X, a small QR plate, and a Field World 5-inch monitor. This is where it takes the signal of the A7 III back there. And right here I ran a power cable into this power connector that I taped to the C-stand because the dummy battery cable wasn't long enough, the one that supplies the A7 III with power, to have this power brick on the bottom. So I had to use an extension off of this one, tape that one to the Avenger C-stand, and run both the A7 III top-down camera via a dummy battery and a little monitor via a, well, power connection of this thing. Oops, almost forgot to show you how this is set up exactly. It's similar to this setup that I used for the tiny monitor. This one also features a studio clamp, a standard spigot, and this time's the Highlights E2 ball head, as well as a, well, rather misappropriated L bracket. Usually this points the other direction, but since I had it point this direction, since I basically put it on wrong, it allowed me to hook it up to the Highlights E2 ball head clamp right here. So that is really a misappropriation of sorts, but it worked just fine and gave me all the articulation and the positioning abilities that I needed. Alright, because I forgot to tell you about this one, technically not a one take anymore. Generally speaking, the more things you can run off-grid power, the better, because you don't have to worry about batteries dying or anything really happening to your workflow as far as the technical side of it is concerned. So whatever you can run off the grid, definitely run off the grid. The A1 down there also runs off the grid via a dummy battery. This monitor runs off the grid. Basically everything ran off the grid except my wireless microphones. So the Rodelink Filmmaker kit, receiver unit and transmitter unit, they ran off battery power, but they run off 2 AA batteries, and you can probably record hours and hours on end with these. So for a YouTube video, that's not a problem. Preferably I would run everything off the grid. So I'm thinking about outfitting this setup with a top-down shotgun mic outside the upper edge of the screen, so I can even run audio off grid power. Alright, did I forget anything? Well, for every camera I had a monitor, a big one for the A shot, a smaller one for the top-down shot, C-stands, boom arms, you know about the light modifiers, and probably I will have inserted a couple of clips to show you the effects of the lighting. I forgot one light, of course. In the background, these are the practicals, and this is one that I just put on the floor and put my head on it to give me a interesting pattern on the wall. I had no bicolor light. The only light that I had left for an edge light is this C300 with a standard reflector and a honeycomb grid. So that gave me the edge, so to speak. And if those were the same color temperature, this one, the practical in frame, would be the perfect motivation for the actual edge light over here. So it doesn't really make sense. You can see it here in the shot. The edge is cool, it's daylight, and the motivation for it is tungsten, or it's 3200, so much warmer. Then again, can't have everything. Was still pleased with the shot I got and how everything worked. Was a smooth operation, so to speak. And honestly, my number one tip, the more things you can run off the grid, run off constant power, the better and the easier your workflow is going to be doing such setups. Oh yeah, and one more tip, gaffer's tape, it's great, but as soon as you have some, you're gonna use it on all kinds of stuff. So keep that to a minimum because it's so convenient. It makes you lazy. All right, that's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, if you found it helpful, please make sure to leave a thumbs up. It's greatly appreciated. Any kind of comment or feedback is welcome, and I'll try to answer as quickly as possible. All the tech that I've used in this video is linked in the description or can be found in a kit on kit.co. As always, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for watching, and hopefully see you again soon.